Hello, welcome to the K4 Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy L. Moore. The mission of the K4 Podcast is to inspire women to fulfill their God given purpose by seeking a Christ centered life through kingdom proof living. Listen and enjoy the journey to kingdom proof living. So, our today's topic is Flawsome is Awesome with our special guest, Dr. Beverly Jones Durr. Welcome, Dr. Durr.
Thank you. Welcome. And I'm happy to be here with you. It's been a while since we had a chat.
I know, and I'm so glad to have you here with us. So, Dr. Durr, please tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay, see, that's one of the things. That's the things I hate talking about myself because even when I read my bio, I go, that can't be me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm the founder and CEO of a nonprofit organization here in Huntsville called Every Child Has a Story. Every Child Has a Story mission is to build self-esteem and confidence in our children across the globe. And I'm also the CEO and publisher of an organization called The Writers Concierge. And what we do is for those people who are interested in self publishing, we can teach you how to do it or we can do it for you. Whatever pieces of the publishing platform you feel uncomfortable with, that's what we do. I'm also a teacher, an international speaker, a mom, a grandmom of some awesome grandkids, and a really, really blessed child of God.
Thank you so much, Dr. Durr. So yeah, you have a lot of many accolades. So thank you for giving us that, you know, let me see, synopsis, because you have so much more to share with us. So Dr. Durr, I've had opportunity to, work with you
Mhm.
in your organization. Every Child Has a Story, before the pandemic hit, and then we all just got so busy. But it is a great organization. And I know that you have written so many books. So
Mm.
one book that I want us to talk about today, because again, the K4 podcast is about helping women fulfill their God given purpose. But we also know that sometimes situations that we may have went through, circumstances, how we view ourselves and how we've allowed others to view us has been a hindrance to our purpose. So you have a book called Flawsome. And when I seen that, I was like, Flawsome, even though we have our flaws, we're still awesome. So, Dr. Durr, could you please tell our listeners what led you to write this book and tell us a little bit about the book?
Okay, Flawsome, I think I wrote the book in 2019. And I wrote it just before I got my diagnosis of breast cancer. So every book that I write is like an idea that God places in my brain. And then I wait for him to help me outline the book. Well, he outlined the book pretty good. And then I wrote the book. And sometimes what I do is I write books and in my brain I convince myself that this is for the people. And I forget that the book is for me too. Because in my season now, I'm going through this Zen season and I started out with self care, but I'm retired, so self care is not something that you just schedule for 15 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours a day. For me, Zen sounds like something you do 24/7. But in order to get there, you have to be comfortable with who you are. You have to be able to release some of those unrealistic expectations that you have for yourself of perfection because you will never reach them. So sometimes it's hard to release those, but you have to because you're climbing a ladder that's an endless ladder, and you can climb it the rest of your life and never get to the point where you are perfect. Y'all know Jesus perfect. We are flawed, but in our flaws is our awesomeness. See, that's how you learn to identify who you are and accept the gift and the blessings that God gives you every single day. You can't get to blossom without gratitude for what you have. So we're flawed. Yes, we make mistakes. We don't do them on purpose. But a lot about who we are is awesome. And that's why I wrote the book.
So, thank you for that. So, what ways or any feedback you've gotten that people have said, hey, this has really encouraged me in this area or that area? Can you share with our listeners some of the ways that other readers have been impacted and inspired by the book?
Yes. I've had a couple of readers. Majority of them are talking about being perfect, having the perfect timing for something, or the perfect attire, or the perfect situation before they move forward into something. They've learned that perfect is a trap, and that you should not be waiting for perfection, since it's never coming. To achieve the goals that you set for yourself, the task that you put in front of yourself, where it is that you say you want to go, you keep pushing. Listen, flaws also cause us to fail sometimes, and in that failure are the lessons that you need. The lessons are in the failures, and you need them to achieve any goal that you set for yourself. So don't beat yourself up. A lot of my readers are interested in building businesses, and reading the Flawsome book helps them to identify what they bring to the table, also what their limitations are, and they can create strategies around those limitations to make sure that the goals they've set for themselves they actually achieve.
And that's very interesting that you said, because society would have us to think there is no success in failure.
Mm-hmm.
How could there possibly be success in failure? So let's dive into that a little bit deeper, Dr. Durr. When you say somebody's listening, be like, well, how can I be a success when I've failed so many times?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Well, whenever you're striving toward a goal, or the completion of a task, you're working those muscles of consistency, focus, direction. You're working all of those muscles. Look at it like you're going to the gym. Maybe you're going to the gym because you want to lose 50 pounds, and you've been going for a while, and you've worked, and those muscles feel pretty good, but you haven't quite lost all the weight that you want to. Do you stop? Absolutely not. You're working muscle. So in your failures, you're still moving forward. One thing a failure can tell you is it can show you what did not work. So you don't have to keep beating your head up against the wall doing the same thing and getting the same results.
Now that's good. That was a good example about that losing weight, because I'm still trying to lose weight, and I like what you said about, okay, maybe you didn't lose what you wanted to, but did that stop you?
Mm-hmm.
Because so many times we do stop.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that mindset that, but you got to keep going. So that was so powerful when you said, but you got to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you would say to the people that, because we know some people that have family around them, and or even in the workplace, because you worked for the federal government for years, you retired from the federal government. How do you help people and inspire people that when they have failed, that it's not the end of the world? Even though at the business, some people got fired because of a failure. In some people's family, because they weren't straight A students, or they didn't marry the right person, or they don't look that way. They were a complete failure. They didn't carry on the family tradition. Because I know you talk to people all over the world that may have dealt with this. So what advice did you give to them to help them to just pick up and keep going?
The best way to inspire people when they fail to keep moving is for you yourself to be an example to them. Live that life so that they see that you failed, but you never stopped. Most people, when they see that, will come to you and say, how is it that after failing, you tried for that job twice and you never got it, but you never stopped pushing? How is it that you're doing that? You are a representation of the idea that failure teaches lessons. That's what I would tell people. You have pushed forward, you worked all of those different muscles in your brain, in your spirit, in your soul, and they are looking pretty good. But if you stop, what happens to those muscles? They get weak again, you get depressed, you start thinking that you're never going to achieve something, which, the devil sneaks in and starts dropping those little tidbits. But if you keep pushing forward, what you have is hope. Hope is a big deal. It's a really big deal. Hope says that in spite of the fact that you have failed, you are still pushing forward to whatever it is the Lord has for you.
Yes, that is so wonderful. And as we talk about, all the books that you've written, you know, people that know you or people that may not know you are a powerful orator. I mean, your speech is that you speak with power and authority. So when you're in your, one of your academies and your organization, you work with a lot of young people at a young age, and you're really teaching them the power of storytelling. So let's
Mm-hmm,
let's talk about that.
mm-hmm.
There's really power in storytelling.
There is true power in storytelling, especially during this Black History time season. I tell the children that the stories don't always have to be historical stories. We make history every single day, and that they should learn a little fact about Black history, either past, present, or what's going to be happening in the future, and share it with others in the form of a short story. And that's exactly what they've been working on this month, is short stories that have to do with Black history. And our idea is Black history is too big for a month. Black history is every day. And our students are looking for examples of that. Telling your story means you have given a voice to the thoughts in your mind and in your heart. And those words are important. The world, the whole world, may not be your audience, but I guarantee you there's at least one person on the planet who is sitting back waiting to hear what you have to say. Having your voice, being able to share it in a story or even oratorically, is a really profound achievement for young people because they don't really believe we as adults pay them any attention and listen. As a matter of fact, we don't have conversations with them, we talk to them. We need to learn to listen more because those stories that are going to be created are already inside them. Given the opportunity to give them an audience where they are heard is going to help birth a lot of those short stories.
That is so awesome. And also you help women,
Mhm.
right? Write books. So can you
Yes.
talk about that?
I believe that every child has a story. It's not just the name of my nonprofit, but every child, especially every child of God, has a story to share with somebody. You know, we talked earlier about going through failures. Our failures build us up. Someone else has also went through the same failure and is sitting out there wondering how to do it. If you could tell your story, you can share the strategies, the tasks, the techniques, the style, everything with them to give them ideas on how they can pull all of that from themselves. It's very, very, very important to be able to write a book, I think, because women have some amazing stories. The thing about it is, their life is so full and busy, they believe that they don't have time to tell their story. Aha, but that is not true. I know that for a fact. And what I help my clients do is to really go through that process. Don't put a time limit on it. Do the best that you can. Just birth the book, hand it over, and we'll do the rest.
So do you think, Dr. Durr, that you're never too old to write a book? Because I've heard some people say, well, now I'm too old, but
Girl, you
that's
know, this year I turned 67. Okay,
Mhm.
this is what month? This is just February, right?
Mhm.
I have written 4 ebooks. It is never, ever, especially the olders. This is
Mhm.
how our culture shared our history through the stories. So if you're not someone who's around people or young folks that can listen to your history and your background and how the times were and things that you saw come to fruition, then you can put it in a book. It is your legacy that you leave behind to the rest of the world. And trust me, if you put it in a book, it's gonna be in my library because my grandson say I'm a book ninja. Grandma has more books in the library.
That's good. And yeah, and you've written a lot of other books, but like I said, I was really intrigued with the, Flawsome, because so many times we do think that, oh well, I'm not good enough, or I did that, but for you to pointedly to say, but you're not perfect.
Yeah.
So, you still can fulfill your purpose with your flaws and all. And we know, through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who is our greatest example of perfection. We'll never reach it while we're here on this earth, but we're trying to strive to do better each day. And that is
Yes.
so powerful in what you said. So, Dr. Dirk, tell us about more about Every Child Has a Story, and how, if people want to donate, they can donate, and
Well,
any initiatives.
we have a powerful website that is everychildhasastory.org, and the organization has just went through rebranding because when we first stepped out, we grew. This sounds crazy. We grew too big, too fast. We want to perfect every one of our programs. So now we have a program director for every one of our programs. Bonita Miller is the program director for the Legacy Business Academy, and Carol Noren is the program director for Speech Crafters, and um, Beverly Pontic is also our Writer's Vibe program director. And so they're creating all types of curriculum for the children. We are online starting September, I think September 12th, and we will run the school year with your kids till April, right up into June when we have our first annual summer day camp. We're actually having it this year, and then we're going to continue it every year. We're going to be at Camp Helen here in Harvest, Alabama, and it is the last week of June. You can find all that information on our website, everychildhasastory.org.
Thank you so much for that. So, someone that may be listening may be saying, well, how does this apply to women in fulfilling their purpose? Can you connect the connect this for us?
I have a program called Bev Jones Durr Legacy Builder because I believe everybody should be building a legacy to pass on to their children and beyond. Within that program, there are lots of workshops that we do with women to help them find their passion. See, I used to use the word purpose all the time because your passion envelops in different ways and aspects. And as it grows, you end up sometimes doing different things. And so the first thing you have to do is work on you first. Once you work on you as a foundation, because you are the foundation, you got to get you right. So I have this trilogy, which Flawsome is part of it, but there's two more that's called Outside the Lines, and it's a book that teaches you how to create your life beyond the boundaries that culture sets for us as women, so that you can create, and I'm giving you permission to do that, to color outside the lines, for to say, because we don't have to be like everybody else. Our DNA says we're different, and here we are trying to run around being like Beyonce and all the other people. But Beyonce is Beyonce, and nobody gonna be like her. Just like there's nobody gonna be like you, and you have so much to give. And the third book in the trilogy is called Transformation, where you put all three of the tools you learned from the two books together, and you transform yourself and your life into something that you feel passionate about. Once you can feel the heat of that passion, you can build whatever you want to build. You can build an organization to help children. You can create a school. You can do whatever you want to do as long as the passion is still burning. And you have to sort of connect yourself into that. So we don't do purpose anymore because purpose sounds like a one time thing, but passion spreads. And that's what we want.
Absolutely. Like you said, passion. What are you passionate about? Because we know that the word purpose can just be used. It's just used so much,
Mm-hmm.
it's just thrown out there. So
Yes.
that's absolutely true. So if they wanted to find out more about the program that you have for women, is that separate of the Every Child Has a Story? Is that a separate website? Is How would they be able to reach you to talk more about that?
Okay, it's not a separate website, but you can
Okay.
reach me through the concierge website, which is writersconcierge.com.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank you so much. So, Dr. Durr, do you have what key takeaways from our conversation today would you like our listeners to take away and just really meditate on it and ponder on from today's chat?
I want you to take a moment to close your eyes, reconnect with the Father, take a breath, feel the goodness that He's given to you. Jeremiah 29:11 is the one I go to all the time, and God has good things for you. You need to sort of like meditate on that and hold that true, because no matter how many flaws you have, you're still awesome because God has gifted you with so many gifts. And what He has for you is going to always be for you. Keep striving, you'll get there.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Durr. And please share with our listeners how they can connect with you on your different social media platforms.
Well, you can find me anywhere on any social media under Bev Jones Durr. And also, you can email me at bevjonesdur at writersconcierge.com. All of a sudden, I drew a complete break. Like, who is she?
Yeah, you wear many hats, Dr. Durr.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So we want to thank Dr. Durr for taking time out of her busy schedule to be a guest on the K4 podcast, and thank her so much for just really breaking it down about, even through all our flaws, because we can be, we can learn so much from kids, but even at the age we're at now, we still lack that self-confidence. So thank
Mm-hmm.
you so much for, just inspiring and encouraging us, because, you have a story on your own, you touched on about your cancer, overcoming cancer. So that's another discussion for us to have maybe, one day when you have time. So
Yeah, and I got a new struggle.
you do,
Yes.
you want to share it today, or you want to, that'll be another time?
I was diagnosed recently with MS.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, most people say that, but you know what? My neurologist says multiple sclerosis doesn't have to mean everything's done and over.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in the process of zenning my entire environment, everything
Mm-hmm.
around me, the people I deal with positive things.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I keep positivity first, I can do whatever I want to do. I'm embracing the transition and the changes, but I
Mm-hmm.
still have things I want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm creating a list of those things that I really feel I have to do because I'm passionate about. I created a journal for each one of those things, and I am in the journal, I am putting in there, what do I need to do physically for my health to be able to complete this task? How do I need to feel emotionally? Where do I need to center my zen? How often? And what do I need from God? Because I go to Him for everything. And so He's in every one of those journals. It helps me to come up with a plan, because if you do not come up with some kind of an idea of how you're going to proceed, you're not going to proceed at all. And for MS, if you do absolutely nothing, if you don't work the brain, if you don't move the muscles, then the lifespan is shorter. But look, y'all, I'm 67. I didn't intend to live a million years, and I've already had quite a few struggles. This is just something that I have to learn to modify my life in order to still pursue the things I want to do.
Thank you so much for that. That's one of the reasons why that I just think that you're awesome, because through it all, those that have followed you on Facebook and your journey, to know that even through it all, you were just authentic. Like, today I might not be feeling well, but
Mm-hmm.
today I am. But even through that, you always found a way to see the positive in it. So that's just, like you said, like, how, the we don't really realize, and I was just thinking about how people can zap that energy out of us. We're trying to live um, a positive life, but people's energy is just so negative, and it just drains us. So that's good. But as you said, those of us that have had the privilege of knowing know that you are strong, you're overcoming, you're a fighter, and you know it's just positive for you. So hey, this is for somebody that may be going through what Dr. Durr has went through, is going through. Connect. I urge you to connect. Get on her Facebook, because she has things that she puts out there, and she's straight to the point now.
Yeah, I don't waste no
she
time.
she always no time. She doesn't beat around the bush. So hey, if you kind of are sensitive, just have an open mind. But
Mhm.
Dr. Durr, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners today before we
No,
close out?
I am just so happy to be on the show. I'm so happy to talk to you, Kathy, because it's been a long time.
It has.
And this is a great day for me, and I'm just going to enjoy it. And you guys were part of my great day.
Thank you so much. And as always, you just doesn't realize how you've inspired me. You continue to inspire me. And I'm sure somebody that is listening will listen, has been inspired and impacted and encouraged. And that's what the K4 podcast is about. And we give God all the glory, honor, and praise, because we know that He heals, and Jesus heals, and He still makes us whole. So we want to invite you to please share the podcast on your social media platforms. You can access the K4 podcast on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Pod, through YouTube, on the Facebook. Connect with me on Facebook, K4 Podcast page, Kingdom Proof Learning, Kingdom Proof Living Facebook page, Instagram, the K4 Podcast, and then we have a new website that will be coming out, the K4podcast.com. So thank you again, and tune in next time.